What's up, everybody? A special late night Sunday edition of the High Mark podcast with your boy Damian G and his right hand man, the man of international mystery known as Dio. It's been a minute, but we decided that this episode was going to strictly be about throwing more hot take Hadoukens than the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega last night on Fyter Fest. So, by the way, shout out to Jimmy Havoc for saying Shoryuken.
Yes.
During his fatal four-way. I caught it. I don't know how many people caught it, but thank you. Since it was a gaming convention, I went to last year's event, so Fyter Fest was actually pretty, I guess the event from people were telling me is pretty good, but we weren't there. But I saw bits and pieces. You saw bits and pieces.
Right.
So AEW essentially is their third event. People don't like to call All In their first one. It was. Just didn't have the logo.
Right.
What do you see?
That was
so
the pilot
far?
episode.
Yeah, the pilot, right? And they wanted to change up the actresses to make them look more ethnic, like certain shows. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly what I'm talking about. Yep.
You know, you go upstairs, you come down, you're a totally different actress.
This person is several shades lighter.
Judy Winslow still hasn't come downstairs yet.
Oh yeah, she was doing porn for a while.
I was gonna say she came down all right, but yeah.
Yep, it came down on that heroin too. But I digress.
Episode 3, I guess, of AEW. So, to me, it's okay. It isn't. They're still finding their traction. They're still getting themselves out of the muddy waters. They have some redeemable characters that I think can be something. For instance, I like Luchasaurus. I like Jungle Boy.
I like that. That is wholesome content.
That is wholesome content. Even before you shared it on Twitter, and you can find Dio on Twitter at I'm Just DEO. That photo of them, I guess, Jungle Boy when he was like 10 or 12.
Right.
You know, with Luchasaurus demasked or unmasked.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great picture. Then Private Party, for those who don't know, in the Northeast, worked for House of Glory, currently still work for House of Glory. And that's where I found them back in New York City. And I'm glad that a global, or at least a more national audience, is being able to see what they can do. I know they wrestled the Best Friends and SCU, which I still think is the midlife crisis 6-man group. Like, they are the walking embodiment of a midlife crisis. Daniels, Kazarian, and even though Scorpio Sky is my age, no, they're like the 40-year-old dude still driving the Corvette, 45-year-old dude driving the Corvette trying to get the 25-year-old at the beach.
Oh yeah, no, like they very much give me hanging out at the high school football games when they know they shouldn't be there vibes. So yeah.
And then it's awkward watching Christopher Daniels scream out SCU with sunglasses when he's supposed to be the fallen angel. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But the show itself was okay. Moxley versus Janela. It was CZW light.
Right.
You know, Janela loves taking them thumbtacks on the feet for some reason. I don't know why. I wouldn't want to take any thumbtacks on my feet because I step on a cord and I feel like I've been shot. So
yeah.
But overall, from what you saw, the bits and pieces, what are your thoughts?
Like, it's cool. It's like we said, now, the All In was that was the pilot episode. Now they are in like the first couple episodes essentially. And like, people are like, because you see like folks are online like, oh my God, AEW is going to be the best thing ever on earth ever. Brother. Like, and it's like, we don't know that, because what we've seen in these events is you're not going to be able to put that on TV. It's just not possible. It is literally impossible to put all of that stuff on TV. One, the whole Street Fighter thing. That was, this was a pay-per-view. They can get away with doing that. But like, when you have like things that are trademarked, you can't just throw the stuff out there, right? Like, you can't just, like, for instance, when the WWE used Cult of Personality for CM Punk, right? Yes. Or Bad Reputation for Ronda Rousey. They have to pay royalties for that shit. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And when you go into a franchise or something like that, like Street Fighter from Capcom, like at this point is hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe even they've probably made billions of dollars off that damn property at this point. And yeah, they're gonna want their ducats. So a lot of what you see there, violence, the chair shot, for instance, right? Oh. There's not gonna be there's not gonna be any chair shots to the head on network TV. It is not going to happen. Tony Khan, goddamn Cody Rhodes, all of them could argue about how it's gonna. No, nobody is going to want to see that in the mainstream. Right. We know what CTE is. Especially in pro wrestling, we know what the effects of CTE are. We don't want another Benoit situation. We don't want another Dynamite Kid.
Definitely don't want a Dynamite Kid situation.
Like, Benoit murdered his family. Like, Dynamite Kid is a fucking trash human being that was wildly abusive to his family as well. All of these people, there's always a common factor with a lot of this stuff. CTE. It is if you go through NFL studies, NHL, boxing, wherever it is, not just that, people that are in relationships that are on the receiving end of domestic violence, they tend to get CTE as well. So like all of these studies that we've seen and random outbursts of extreme violence is one of the symptoms of people having CTE. Like, this isn't a kind of sort of thing. Like, I have sat in on the what's it called? I have sat in on the depositions for NFL CTE lawsuits. Not this isn't fun. This isn't like some shit that we're being PC about. No, we don't want to see it anymore. We saw, like, if you want to go and get a hard on for, the Rock versus Mankind, I Quit match, cool. That's you. You can go watch that shit on the network if you want to. But we don't want to see that anymore. Mick Foley can't remember large chunks of his life. He can't remember large chunks of his kid's life. He damn near lost the ear. He's lost a bunch of teeth. Like, he had to get hips replaced. Like, somebody said this on Twitter. Like, y'all keep on talking about how these wrestlers, current day wrestlers, wouldn't have survived the Attitude Era. Dude, most of the wrestlers from the Attitude Era didn't survive the Attitude Era. Like, look at how many people have passed away since then from CTA related injuries or, like the mental illness that sprang about after the fact. Like, this isn't some like mystical thing that we're just making up because we're soft. No, we know what happens. We don't want to see it anymore. We don't want to see those situations happen anymore. We don't want to see, like, there was a string of them in, I'm sorry for being dark here, but like there was a string of incidents of NFL players that committed suicide.
Yep.
And
we talked about this before.
Right. And like the way in which they did it, they wanted people to know that it was CTE related. Like, you don't shoot yourself in the chest because for no reason. Like, they wanted to save their brain to make sure that scientists could study this stuff. Like, this isn't some shit that we're making up, is the point that I'm trying to make, right? So like all of this stuff of like, we want the attitude. You don't want the Attitude Era back. Nobody really does.
Personally, I don't want it at all. I could do without the unprotected chair shots. I can do without people being dropped, through glass, and no matter, hey, that's not my bag of tricks. I know a lot of people love death matches. Big ups to the people who put their body on the line for that stuff. Right. But I don't need to see the chair shots. I'm not good with the death matches. Right. I'm not good with barbed wire. Some Legos are kind of my, as drastic as I'll get, Right. But I don't need to see Cody Rhodes take an unprotected chair shot. I don't. I don't need to see that blood gush coming out. I'm sorry. That's part of the reason why I don't watch the NFL anymore. I used to be, and for those who don't know this about me, I am a fully trained radio broadcaster who was trained to cover sports radio, and I stopped watching sports, specifically football, because I did not like where it was going. It did not vibe with my tribe, as you want to say it.
Right.
So I became more interested in the story that happened off the field. For instance, you referenced Aaron Hernandez, killing himself in prison, Junior Seau, shooting himself in the chest so he knew he could donate his brain to science. And we've talked about the concussion movie. Take away Will Smith's really pathetic accent.
Terrible accent.
It really brought to life for me that this is something, and take it from a guy who's taken one too many shots to the head himself. The brain, even if it's a small jarring, you're not supposed to take that kind of abuse.
Right.
So, like, someone could just sun you, and that can rub you the wrong way.
Right.
When you pie face someone or face wash someone, if their head or their face is not properly positioned, that might rattle the brain.
Right.
If you play tackle football in the streets, that's gonna hurt your brain.
Right. Like slap boxing, it's gonna hurt your brain. Literally, anytime that your brain receives trauma is a concussion.
Right.
Like the slightest thing. There are different grades. There's 1, 2, and 3 are the major grades of concussions. But like with the whole thing at the end of this, after Cody took the thing, like 45 minutes to an hour later, he's like, "Oh yeah, the doctors checked him out immediately." That's not how concussions work.
You're talking about Tony Khan.
Tony Khan, right? Like that's not how concussions work. You can't tell that quickly if you have a concussion,
right?
Or even what grade it is at that point. Like stuff does not come about usually for like a day or two. That's why like in MMA and boxing and things like that, if you get knocked out or you get TKO'd, it's a mandatory like 90 days, no contact, which because that in that period of time, that's when the symptoms can start to come about. And there was one of the champions, not like some scrub, one of the champions had like concussion issues where he was it was exacerbated during a weight cut, and like his speech was slurred, and like he was really slow to answer things, and like sure enough they had to go and check him out to make sure that he didn't have a concussion. But it takes a long period of time after getting nailed in the head for the symptoms to come about. So like that was just like for me. Like I do like the whole thing that they're doing with the media scrums. It makes it feel like an actual sporting event.
Right.
But like you can't. This very much showed a weakness in Tony Khan as a character, I guess you'd say. Because like if this was just him off the cuff, he ain't gonna cut it. This is not gonna cut it. So like what happens if you're on TNT and he's the person that goes between Cody and all of them and the people at the network? What happens when an accident happens on live TV, which is going to happen? It's gonna happen. I don't want it. This isn't wishing it on anything, but no, the business of professional wrestling, people are gonna get hurt, right? So if you have somebody that can barely explain the issue that happened with the unprotected chair shot, which now they're claiming is protected, but the chair malfunction. Like if he couldn't do that with just some, pro wrestling journalists, imagine how he's going to do in a boardroom. I know you come from money, but that doesn't mean that you're built to actually do business.
It doesn't mean you have unlimited resources like that.
Right.
Because eventually you're going to have to answer to shareholders
Yeah.
and people who are sponsors. And that's something that WWE fans don't like about WWE when they pine for the Attitude Era.
Right.
They want the corporate sponsors to say, to be like the rough and rumble like we had back in the day. But I'm sorry, that's not the world we live in right now.
Right. Like that was back in the days of like the Budweiser commercials when we had the Man Show, friggin' like Married with Children was like a show, and like it was just rampant sexism and misogyny all throughout the 90s. And let's be honest, the thing that most people want from the Attitude Era is the rampant sexism and misogyny. It's not the unprotected chair shots and all that stuff. Because like you go back and like I've said this before, the Attitude Era is easily one of the weakest eras of WWE, ECW, WWF, whatever. You pick the promotion, the Attitude Era is easily one of the weakest. It's not even close. So like this whole thing of we want to go back to it is just like, dude, just shut up. Just
dude, just shut up.
Yeah, like it's just like this isn't, you're not doing anybody any favors. Like just say what you actually want. And that's it. This whole law, this isn't, dude, it couldn't work. It just could not work now.
So what did you like from what you saw last night?
I mean, like this was just kind of like a mediocre show to me. Like there were great talents and stuff like that. Laredo Kid's awesome. Like you have they have talent on the roster. No two ways about that. But like it still feels like they're going to end up suffering from some of the same issues that WWE are suffering from. The difference is that some of these names aren't known to the masses. So like SoCal Uncensored, right? Like this is the epitome of, this is kind of like having the like Evolution come back over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like these are old men, like Christopher Daniels, what is his name? Scorpio Scott. Like you have all of these dudes are old.
Well, Daniels is what, 40, 45? You
right.
know, Kazarian's in his 40s and Sky's late 30s.
Late 30s. Like this by pro wrestling like age, these motherfuckers is ancient.
Well, they mentioned on the broadcast how many matches Daniels had, over 1,000 matches in his career. Yeah. Yay.
Right. It's like, all right, cool. Like, and this was one of the things that I was kind of worried about, that this was just going to end up being Cody and friends. And I don't want that to happen. I want there to be a good alternative. I want there to be healthy competition. But like, I don't know. This just it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah. I like
Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose is dope.
I saw her briefly in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
Was surprised as any that she got signed, but I think last night she's a lot more athletic than I thought she was.
Right, yeah.
That flying, I know they're calling it a guillotine leg drop. It looked more like a flying knee, but it looked good as hell. And seeing her jump halfway across the ring to do that move, right? A girl her size should not be able to leap like that. And you know what? I was impressed AF.
Yep, absolutely. Like she was one of those. She's a diamond in the rough. Like this was, because she literally was pulled from obscurity. People in the know kind of knew who she was,
right?
But like if you weren't, frequenting indie shows, you're not going to know who she was. Like Sunny Kiss, people knew who Sunny Kiss was. Sunny Kiss has been on Lucha Underground and other stuff too. But like, yeah, she was absolutely a diamond in the rough, and I'm excited to see where they go with that. I'm kind of afraid of where they could go because the shitty fan base that AEW, Bullet Club,
all
Umbrella,
those boys, yeah,
all those, I'm kind of worried because what I don't want them to do is to start pandering to that audience, because they've done great steps so far to show that they are all about inclusivity and representation. But yeah, that fan base is that could be their undoing.
And we've talked about this on multiple shows where the fan base, even though that's who they're trying to appeal to, that's who's known to be fans of the Elite and the Bucks in general and Kenny, it's going to be their undoing potentially.
Right.
Because remember when Sonny got signed, when Nyla got signed, we were worried that that the higher ups were going to be parading these talents out saying, look, we're all inclusive wrestling as some sort of meandering type parading.
Yeah.
And then the fan base immediately did not take to it.
Like it was all types of F words and keywords. Like they called them every slur possible in that thing. And it was kind of worrying because when they were pressed about it, Brandy and Cody were like, well, we never saw this type of stuff before. Are you fucking serious? Like you could go to any post that you had, literally like the third or fourth comment is usually some bigoted dickhead. Like it happens like every single time. And like the fact that they were like, well, I don't know, I've never seen anything like that before. It's like, yeah, this is kind of
like lying, you know?
Yeah, like and it's kind of just been one thing after another. Because like between that stuff and then then after the last big event that they had was All or Nothing, and like they showed promise, like especially them getting like the interview with Cody talking about his experience with Brandy and that getting retweeted by AOC and stuff like it showed okay, maybe they're moving in the right direction. But then like when you see stuff like that happen yesterday with like Tony Khan, I was just like, ooh, he's probably not the person that you're going to want to have as your spokesman.
Well, I didn't know about this, but Eugene in the chat is talking about, did we hear about Tony Khan's thoughts on intergender wrestling?
Oh yeah, he is completely against it.
Really?
Yeah. Like he didn't like the spot with Brian Cage and
Jordan
Grace at all. And so he's like, yeah, no, we're not going to have that.
Jordan Grace can whoop his ass.
Easily. Like, and like, this is very much that was another thing where it was like, oh, okay. I see what this is going to end up being. He is another one of those dudes that basically wants to recreate the Attitude Era again. Gotcha. Like, I am like, it just keeps on being like one thing after another where I'm like I want them to do better. I want them to be better. I want them to do well. But like, this is not, it's not looking like it's going to end up being everything that it could be in the end, because they're going to end up shooting themselves in the foot at every step of the way. And I'm
reading the article now.
Yeah. And like everything was like, it's for everything where it's like, oh yeah, this looks like it's going to be a step forward. And it's like, in reality, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And it's like, this is not going to be, it's not going to be what people think it's going to be. And when you have a network, when you're on a network like that, a large network, they are going to be at the will of their sponsors and of the network. So, it's going to be that.
My question would be, let's just say they don't want intergender wrestling, but let's say a Turner sponsor does.
Right.
Are they willing to say, nope, line in the sand? Or are they going to say, show me the money and do it regardless?
They're going to do it. Like Tony Khan can boo-hoo about it all he wants, but like, it's not his money. It's not his money that's funding this. It's his parents. So like his parents are going to want a return on investment. So if one of the sponsors of the network comes to them and says, hey, we want this, and then the sponsors are like, oh, well, you don't want our input on it? Cool. Lose the sponsorship. Very quickly, you will see that shit turn around.
Of course.
Very quickly. So yeah, like this is, as like folks really think the TV show is going to be something new and fresh. It's not. It's going to be very WWE-esque.
I'm thinking it's going to be more like Nitro.
Probably will be. It's going to be Nitro Light.
And to be fair, Nitro was good at one point.
Yeah.
And even before the NWO showed up, I valued it as a viable alternative to wanting to watch WWE at the time.
Yeah. Like, and I was a WCW kid that grew up around WCW. Like I lived in Marietta, Georgia, where most of the wrestlers were. So like it was that was my bread and butter. But like, yeah, this is like I'm interested to see where it goes, but yeah, everything. It's just been, like I said, just incident after incident after incident after incident. Like before this, Kenny Omega going on his rants on Twitter about because the WWE put the Evolve show as counter programming on the network, right? So he went on Twitter, this the blood money, this, that, and the other, and well, I know you guys are okay with having blood money and blood on your hands, but to counter program a charity show. Wait a minute, sir. Wait a minute. You can't get on a high horse. You guys' track record over the past like 6 to 8 months is terrible. Booking a pedophile, right? There's that. There's the Bullet Club, the remnants of the Bullet Club versus the Elite, which ended up just being white guys versus brown guys.
Yeah, it was.
That's not this. This is not a good thing. Then you essentially cosplayed as a queer person in the Golden Lovers angle that y'all did, just because y'all wanted ratings. This isn't a good look that y'all got going on here.
Nope.
And like you have all of these incidents over and over and over and over again, but you want to call out the WWE. And then once people, rightfully so, called him out on the shit, then he wanted to go, classic tweet us, delete us, zap, and the tweet was gone. And it's like, bro, you can't do that stuff. You can't act like this now. You asked for this war, right? You asked for this war. Literally, y'all aped what DX did with WCW. You showed up at a WWE event on some invasion type shit, trying to recreate the Attitude Era. Y'all asked for this, but the moment shots came flying past your head, now you want to complain about it. That's not how this works, dude. That's not how this works.
That's like not how you build a viable brand that can stand up to just standard business practices.
Right. Like this is, if you want to complain about this already, and the war actually hasn't even really started, y'all aren't gonna survive it.
It's okay though. They got Street Fighter. It's all right.
Yeah, it's like, but like y'all are not going to be able to survive this in the long term. If you got mad about counter programming, because it's not gonna fucking. Wait until they really start going after y'all. Wait until they see whatever your policies are, and then start matching those policies, or that they start giving, offering more lucrative contracts than y'all.
Well, I saw somewhere on the internet recently that Mike and Maria and Jinder Mahal both accepted 5-year deals,
right,
from WWE to basically just sit on the bench.
Yeah.
And that's very telling for me, because when Mike Bennett used to be good,
right?
He used to be. He's got himself in phenomenal shape. I'll put it out there first off.
Yeah, he's clean and all that stuff too. So
he's battled his demons and he's come out on the other side. And I liked him in TNA or whatever it is now, Impact. I enjoyed him in Ring of Honor. Did I think it was a smart decision for him to go to WWE? No, but they probably offered his wife and him the most money.
Yeah.
And then she announced she was pregnant. So top line medical care, probably.
There you go. Like this is not like it's the thing that like a lot of folks, we've talked about this before, like they don't actually care about the wrestlers as people. No. Like they just want, like, pro wrestling fandom is a very selfish fandom. I want to see my faves in the most convenient place possible, right? Mm-hmm. I want to see them where I watch my product all the time. But it's like, okay, like when you have instances where like people are like, no matter what happens, every single tweet that any WWE performer tweets right now, any tweet, doesn't matter what it is, there's always somebody in there talking about, well, you should go to AEW. Like, AEW is not going to be able to match their salaries. Like Like they might be able to for one or two people, but they're not going to be able to match everybody's salaries that way. Like that's not feasible. You know, like a lot of these performers are used to a certain way of life at this point. You know, like a certain income level. Like hell, some of these folks that don't get, you know, that don't have that aren't on TV all the time right now. A bunch of them have had kids and stuff like that. Maybe they're actually enjoying this time with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that. We don't know that. Like everybody thinks that being on the independent scene is like some fantasy where everything is just ice cream and rainbows, bro.
First off, if you've ever eaten an ice cream rainbow, I need to know about it.
Yeah, but like, just like the nonsense that if these ideas that people have of what you know it is like no, like when you have pro wrestlers, so you might have to go and drive through 3-4 different states within 2 days, then have to catch a flight elsewhere, and then you have to catch another flight that same day. You know, you're living in Holiday Inns and Days Inns all around the country and shit like that. It's not fun. It's not fun. And then you get booked by a, you know, say you end up getting booked by somebody that doesn't pay you on time, then you're just kind of SOL because now you're never going to get paid.
Like, isn't that most of professional wrestling in general in terms of independence where people don't get paid?
Yeah, no, like that's like the same thing with me. Like I'm an independent contractor. Like I refuse to work with companies. Like I give them one chance. If they screw up, then I never work with them again. Like I don't want to have to chase down my check that I am owed. So like if I go to you, I was like, all right, these are my rates. This is when I expect to get paid. If I'm not getting paid by that time, we're gonna have a problem. Like I work with the same 1 or 2 companies just because I know I'm gonna get paid, right? So like when you're an independent contractor going from promotion to promotion to promotion to promotion, that shit sucks, bro. That sucks. You can't work out properly all the time. You don't know if you're actually gonna if you're gonna be in an area where there's actually gonna be a gym. You know, you might have to fucking sleep in your car. Like these are not like, I know y'all have heard all these stories and stuff like that from like the 80s, and it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun. Like actually talk to some performers next time instead of just assuming that shit is sweet. Like yeah. Like
that's the thing too. Like a lot of people will say, well, that's just them paying their dues. You know, that's a phrase that gets thrown around one too many times for my liking. Yeah. But who wants to stay at a Roach Motel just to work for $20? And I get some people are going to say, well, they're just earning their keep. And then I'll turn around and say, F that. You can have a YouTube highlight reel of all your stuff. Right. And if someone sees you, they'll say, I want to book that person. Prime example. Who is this fool that's saying F that shit and then jumping onto like random objects?
Oh, the human superhuman or whatever.
Superhuman, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, like he's a juggalo.
People want to book him.
Yeah, and like the thing is, he has no experience whatsoever. He is. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say my actual thoughts on what this is, but I do not. This is not something that you should. This is not a person that you should be booking.
But yet, people do want to book him.
Yeah, it's too much of a liability. Like what he's doing this stuff in his backyard, and he's doing relatively. They're not safe. None of it's safe, but he's doing relatively mundane stuff. And this is, it's one of those things where it's like, he's going to end up hurting himself really bad in the near future. Mm-hmm. And like, it's just not going to, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. And the last thing a promoter is going to want is to have some inexperienced kid come on to a show, him do a spot and get grievously injured. You know, like you don't want the what was it in in the mass transit incident.
Mass transit incident. Yep.
Like that's the last thing you want to happen. You don't want to have a mass transit incident in 2019. Like, come on now, bro. Like, come on. This is not what you. This isn't something that you should strive for.
And for those who don't know what the mass transit incident was, it revolved around a young wrestler who may or may not have been a wrestler, but lied about his age to get on an ECW card.
Yeah.
And then New Jack essentially beat the living hell out of this kid.
Yep.
Now, depending on who you talk to, he told New Jack to pretty much blade him and gouge him, and you know, and then he's since passed from what I remember, but
yep.
It was bloody. He had to be hospitalized, but this kid was not an officially trained wrestler, and they just put him on because he looked like a bus driver, because he looked like a big bus driver. Right. So that's why they called him Mass Transit.
Right. Like it was, yeah. Like
it was messy. It was
very messy. Right. Like New Jack ended up having like assault and battery charges. You know, it's like it was one of those things that like, yeah. yeah. It was.
So let me ask this question. For all those people who claim they want the Attitude Era back, I know you've said that they kind of just want the toxic parts of it back. Are there any redeemable things about the Attitude Era that could be brought back that wouldn't be so toxic?
Yeah, non-scripted promos.
Okay.
Like that is the one thing that they absolutely need to bring back. Like they need to give a lot of these folks like
the green light,
room to breathe. Like it's when you are micromanaged, or even if they're not saying verbatim exactly what Vince McMahon and company consider to be good shit. It's
your Moxley impersonation is good.
You have to have like somebody like Roman Reigns. Like Roman, when he's just talking, is very charismatic.
Yes. Like
he genuinely seems like a really cool dude, and like actually comes off really like a cool, charismatic type of guy. But like the promos that he's cutting, like especially the Suffer and Succotash.
Oh, that was fun.
One from back in the day, I was just like, ugh.
The beanstalk.
Yeah. It's like you are using terminology that these kids do not understand. Yeah. So like if you give people like the freedom like that, they're going to, one, it's trial by fire. You have to get good or you have to get gone.
Ooh, I like that.
I think so. Like take Bayley, for instance, right? Bayley's not the greatest on the mic.
No.
She's gotten better as of late. I will give her that. I don't know what happened, but you know, they've given her a little bit of an edge. You know, they got her dressing in Fashion Nova and whatnot, you know, bringing a little bit of the seasoned side of her of her jeans back. But like like someone like her, she would have learned she would have to learn very quickly. All right, let me actually figure out what I need to do on the microphone, because she wouldn't have lasted, you know, back then. I mean, she wouldn't have lasted back then anyway. She was not the prototype of what they considered to be attractive. But yeah, like that's one thing that I would like the most. Like give people, like basically tell them, hey, this is the direction we want to go in. You can fill everything else in yourself. Like someone like a Samoa Joe is gonna thrive in
being able to be unscripted. Oh, without a doubt.
Without to be unscripted, bruh. Like, cause even when he comes out, like when he came out there and like gave bars to everybody in the ring, when he came in talking, like when he told Jeff Hardy to go ahead and be quiet.
I don't even know why you out here.
right. Like that was classic stuff. Like I can tell like Samoa Joe watches a lot of battle rap. Because some of the lines that he drops, I was like, I know the battle you got that from. But yeah, no, like it like stuff like that. It's where people are gonna shine. And it, like I said, it will force you to become better. Because if you constantly are being fed your lines and all, you're not gonna get any better at that. You're not gonna be able to form a character, right? Like it's just not possible. If they say, "Hey, this is your character and this is what you do," that doesn't really give you any room to, to really evolve. Like I know Drew McIntyre has stated, "Oh yeah, no, that he's made it." They give him what he does, but he still stays. You're staying on the script, dude. And I understand that you fought long and hard to get back into the WWE, so you are very much the company man right now. But it's stifling a lot of people, and you can tell that it's stifling folks. And that's why people that are not deserving of the spots that they have, I am looking squarely at Lacey Evans. That is why they have got, because they happen to just follow the rules that are given to them, but they're not good.
And it fits type. Let's be real here.
Oh yeah, it fits type too. Yeah, like she is. Like Vince has a hard on for blonde women. That's no two ways about that. Like,
and apparently now his hard on is athletic blonde women. So yes, I'll give Lacey credit. Athlete, former military.
She ain't great in the ring though. I don't know what happened
overall, just fitness level.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened since NXT. She had there were glimpses of her being like
really
good.
Athletic.
I don't know what the hell has happened recently, because it's just like, oh, you're really not good in the ring anymore. What the fuck happened? Oh,
no seasoning.
Obviously.
And anyone who listens to us knows what we mean by no seasoning.
Yeah.
Her husband doesn't count.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so I before we go, I want to wrap this up by doing a little word association with you, because we haven't done one of these in a while. Right. So I'll say a wrestler's name, and I want the first thing that pops in your head. Keep it to no more than 3 words. Okay?
Okay.
So the first one I'm gonna start with a situation. Okay. Maria Manic in Ring of Honor.
Should have signed somewhere else.
They wouldn't have let her wrestle intergender anywhere else.
I mean, I get that, but ROH is
trash. We know
it's trash. It's dead in the water. It's
okay.
They treat the women like second-class citizens. So yeah.
Flip Gordon being part of wait. I know we hate that guy, but being part of Villain Incorporated.
Fuck that guy. It came out of nowhere. It doesn't make any sense. It feels like a forced gimmick. What was it? MJF said something the other day to him that was hilarious. I think he said he looked like Flip Gordon looked like he invented virginity. And I cackled. Cackled in my apartment.
There's a wrestler, off topic real quick, and shout out to Topher, because I know eventually he's going to be listening in. There's a wrestler we've seen down here a couple of times, and the first words out of his mouth whenever he sees her try to wrestle is, "She smells like failure."
Yeah.
That's how we feel about Flip Gordon. Fuck that guy. Okay, so Lacey Evans.
Back to the drawing board.
Drew McIntyre.
Vince has got to go. Like he's being held back by Vince. Like it's I don't know what the hell like the story has been the last few weeks, and it's just like, bro, this is
like whose cereal did he piss in backstage?
Right.
Where now he's essentially the second in command for Shane McMahon. You know?
Yeah.
And you know Shane's going to be the one to take the title off Kofi, right? You know
Absolutely. I know it is. And people are not going to be happy about that.
I'm not happy just knowing that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Kevin Owens.
Just the best. He's just the best. Like, always great in ring, always great on mic, and just posts the most wholesome content on a regular basis.
He really does put wholesome content on
like
the internet.
The dogs, like all of his cute, adorable dogs. Like, the only thing I will say that probably sucks about that is I know that house just has to smell like dog flatulence all the time. You have a bunch of short-snouted dogs. My God, gas 24/7. Light a match and the whole house goes up, bro.
Oh Lord. Okay. Sean Spears.
Still don't get it.
Chad Gable.
Oh my God. Underutilized. Yeah. Like, he legitimately could be
an all-time great.
All-time great, top of the card. Like, he's got everything. He's great on the mic. He just gets it. He puts his all into everything. He is easily one of the top performers in the entire WWE umbrella. Like, I want to see him versus Gargano at like a WrestleMania. That's what I want to see. Like, that'll be the 5-star match of all 5-star matches right there.
Andrade.
There's a lot there.
Because I remember you posted something recently about him and Roosh and how Roosh was going to come to WWE or NXT, and he talked them out of it.
Yeah, he talked them out of it. And it's like, Andrade he has done great with what they've given him recently. And like, it sucks what's going on with him recently. Like, I believe he lost his mom and his aunt within like weeks of each other, which was fucked up. Like, I'm happy that he's happy in life right now, not the situation. Like, you know, he's found somebody that he seems to be incredibly in love with. He is operating at a very high level in the ring. Like, I just hope that he does. I hope they give him the spotlight that he absolutely deserves, because he's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, y'all are gonna have to really try to mess this up for him to fail.
Speaking of the Kabuki Warriors,
I mean, where are they?
Exactly.
I mean, they were in Japan, and like I saw the only time I've seen them wrestle in the past like 2 months has been via clips that were on
the Japanese tour.
On Japanese Twitter. Yeah. I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on here.
Well, we had Triple H teaming up with the club and then with Shinsuke Nakamura on the Japan tour. So
yeah, that's a thing that happened.
Sasha Banks.
Know your worth.
Damn. That's what you and I talk about all the time.
Yep.
Know your worth.
Know your worth, bro. Like, it's like, and for me, it's hilarious because everything that people were cheering the the revival on for doing, holding out and complaining to the higher ups about their position on the card, they shat all over Sasha for.
Wonder why.
Oh yeah, there's two things. One, she's a woman, and two, she's a woman of color. So
what do you mean, Dio? Her mom is white.
Yeah, but she's still, you look at her, if you were walking around in the real world, you look at her and be like, oh yeah, she's black. Like, you're not gonna, or maybe Hispanic, but you're definitely not gonna, you know what? I think that woman is white. No, come on now, folks. Let's keep it 100% here.
Let me give you 3 more. John Moxley.
Know your worth. Like, there's another one where it's like, I'm glad that he's happy again. I am glad that he knew his worth and was like, fuck it, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. And
that's a great line, by the way. That will always be a top 5 line.
Top 5 lines of all time. But yeah, like, he's Like he knew what he had, what he brought to the table, and he capitalized on it. Because now look at him, he's everywhere. Easily the hottest commodity in professional wrestling. It's not even close.
Oh yeah, no. He is that superstar on doing whatever he wants, getting that FU money because that's what he wants to do. And he literally could say, all right, I'm done for a month. I'm just going to go home, chill my wife.
Yeah.
And then come back and still get the hugest pop of the night.
Yep. Like it's,
I'm trying to, oh, okay. Impact Wrestling.
Who?
Oh, that's foul. And like go ahead.
Nobody can see the shit. Where can I watch this?
You can't watch it on Twitch?
No, I'm not gonna fucking watch it on Twitch, bro. Like who? Like this is one of the worst promotions as far as visibility ever. Like the fact that I can watch random independent wrestling shows easier than I can what was once one of the big three. It's not a good look. Not a good look.
That's a good point. Because there's some good talent down there, but yet we don't get to see it.
But yeah, some incredible talent. And I believe the tag team champs, their contracts are running up soon.
Oh yeah, no, please.
LAX.
they're gone. They're gonna have to.
Yeah, because it's like you're not gonna be able to stay there. I want them to go to wherever is the best fit for them, whether that be AEW or WWE, whatever. I just want them to go.
Except Ring of Honor.
Except Ring of Honor, because fuck that.
Don't go there.
Yeah, do not go there. That is the elephant graveyard. Like,
God.
Everything that the sun touches. But that place, we must not go there.
Lion King reference for all y'all at home who don't know that. Oh, that's funny. Are you going to see the movie, by the way?
Absolutely. And I am ready to cry. I'm going to, like I already told my girlfriend, I was like, look, when Mufasa dies, it's not going to be when he dies that gets me. It's going to be when Simba tries to wake him up. I am going to sob uncontrollably.
Wake up, Dad.
So just be ready for that. And she's like, but she's a crier too. So like she is always the first person to cry or laugh, and is always the loudest person to laugh or cry in the movies. So it's like, all right, well, I'll be okay.
Did you watch the Aladdin remake?
I did not see the Aladdin remake, actually. I heard from the people that saw that I trust.
It was good.
Yeah. Like people were shitting on it for no reason. Like it just came out and people were like, it's the worst thing on it. It's like, dude, shut up. Like just let people enjoy stuff. Let people enjoy things.
I liked it. I thought it was a good representation of the story. Right. I thought Will Smith's performance was actually pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he's Will Smith. He's not going to fuck something like that up. Nah, like when you have to fill the shoes of Robin Williams, you're not going to fuck that up.
Well, hopefully you don't fuck that up, but
hopefully you don't fuck that up. But yeah, like I think someone like him, he's going to have too much respect for the person that came before him to like just sandbag it. So, you know, I'm just here to check. Nah.
Well, I think for me, that's all I got for word association. Do you have any last hot takes before we get out of here?
Last hot takes. Trying to think, but really, I just want AEW fans or Bullet Club fans to just be more realistic. That's it. Like that's all I want is. And not just pro wrestling fans in general, just be more realistic about your demands. That's all I want. Like it will be so much, everything would go by so much easier if you guys just were more realistic about this stuff. Like stop tweeting anytime a WWE person tweets anything. Somebody could tweet a picture of their lunch. They would treat you. You'd get lunch better in AEW. What? What are you? What are we even talking about here, man? What? Like, let these people enjoy their lunch, bro. They're just trying to share some food porn. That's it. We're not trying to like talk about AEW right now. Like, I'm just trying to enjoy my sandwich.
But I'm just trying to eat a burger. Like, come on now.
That's it. Yeah, but like, it's just be more realistic about stuff. Be more realistic about what to expect from the AEW weekly TV show. Be more realistic about what pro wrestlers actually want. Like, don't just assume you know what they want, because you more than likely do not. You know, not everybody wants to be, you know, the best in the world. Some people just might enjoy wrestling and collecting a check. You know, some people may enjoy comedy shit all the time. Some people may enjoy death matches. Like, let them enjoy what they enjoy, but like, stop trying to like constantly be like, oh, you should go to someone. Dude, just y'all are just stop. just stop.
I feel like you and I say that a lot to people. Just stop it.
Just stop it. Like, it's just like, relax. You know, drink more water.
Hydrate.
You know, at least 64 ounces a day. That's what you need to be drinking. Yeah, just relax. That's it. Be more realistic and relax. That's all I got.
Well, my last bit of salvo isn't even going to be negative. It's actually going to be something that I think you'll appreciate, some wholesome content. Our love and appreciation for one Cat, the plant of NXT, who is great at Twitter infamy based on her facial reactions to things alone. So if y'all have gone on to Twitter and have followed her at ArcticScore, and she's our former co-host, or she's always welcome back. Let's just put it out there right now. People have asked me, did Kat leave the show? Is she coming back? She is more than welcome to come back. But if you look at her Twitter, ArcticScore, and see all the facial reactions that people have been posting of her at yesterday's Fyter Fest,
yep,
my man, it is one of the most beautiful things I have seen all week.
She is Twitter gold. She is the best.
She did a twirl during one spot where like the camera caught her getting up and doing a spin. And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
That's Kat. So she is a blessing. Her facial reactions are a blessing. Her and her whole positive group of wrestling fans that she rolls with, they are a breath of fresh air in a world where there's too many, and I'll say it like this, pardon my French, there's too many fuckboys in wrestling that want to mess it up for everybody else. Yep. And they are, that whole group of young women, they are amazing and they are wholesome and they just love professional wrestling. And they are exactly what's right with wrestling fandom. So I just wanted to use my 2 minutes here to just tell Kat, we love you. Thank you for being you. And thank you for providing us with unintentional comedy when you can't stand to see certain things. Because, yeah, you how you react is probably how me and Dio would probably react too. So
probably, yeah.
Pretty accurate. So you can follow Dio on Twitter or not, because he has hot takes all the time. And I'm just DEO, myself, Damian G 347, I should say, because I change it every other day. I have some news coming up in the next couple of episodes. A lot of professional development news. Dio knows off air what that is. And a couple more stuff I have in the holster that I'm gonna quote unquote shoot my shot with. And you got to tune in the next episode of Highmark to find out what that is. So again, for Damian G, for Dio, for Kat, for everyone else who's been involved with this show, Mel, Topher, Eugene, anyone in the chat, we love y'all. Don't be a dick. Without you, there is no us, and we'll catch you next time.
Oh yeah, and Topher said he had to mow his lawn earlier, and that was too much information.
Is we talking a real lawn or that's a metaphorical lawn?
I'll let you be the judge.
And on that note, good night, folks. And to Topher's lawn, yikes.